If you have Hyatt points or bank points that transfer over to Hyatt, then this is your window of opportunity to book some nice hotels before the pool of options gets shuffled. We'll look at getting the points and then the math behind all the category 7 and 8 options. Many of these we have been to and are also fan favorites within the community, along with plenty that are on our list. Big favor before we dive into everything though is to give this a thumbs up to help with the algorithm. If you know someone that might benefit that needs to book something, then share this with them. Okay, so first off, why should we care about this? At the moment, Hyatt points are one of the easiest ways to lock in great value. With most bank points, 40,000 points would be about 400 in cash back. The main idea here is that you can get more than 400 in value. In fact, my target is 2 cents per point, so for 20,000 points, I'd want about 400 in value, and for 40,000 points, about 800. If it's close, then fine, but if it's well below, I'd rather pay out of pocket. Speaking of value, premium flights are a great way to get pretty insane value, given the sticker price, with the caveat that it's primarily for yourself. So for example, 80,000 points might be a one-way ticket, and let's say it's 160K for a round trip for yourself. The reason people, and especially couples and families, like hotels is that you can share the experience, so that 160K might be 4 nights at a nice hotel for 2 to 4 people. And that's the case whether you're trying to explore a city or going on spring break with your kids and trying to relax by the pool. Okay, with that said, what's the urgency? The Hyatt award chart is dramatically changing with rates increasing, and we did do a whole video on this. Technically it is up in the air and it might not be as bad as I think, but it's still not ideal. I'd still rather play it safe, lock it in, and then cancel in the future if needed. Okay, with that said, how do we get World of Hyatt points? There's 3 main ways. Number 1 is staying at their hotels, number 2 is spending on their cards, and number 3 is transferring from bank programs. At the moment, they have 2 bank partners. With both Chase and Bilt, it transfers at a 1-to-1 rate, so 1,000 bank points would be 1,000 Hyatt, 40,000 bank would be 40,000 Hyatt. Again, for most people, 40,000 bank points is about 400 in cash back, and that's the number we're trying to beat. The key question is, can we transfer those 40,000 bank points to Hyatt to book a hotel that might cost 600, 800, or 1,000 a night? The idea being that points are finite, and you want to maximize value. At the same time, you do also have to want to go to the place. If you don't like skiing, if you don't like the cold, then it might make sense, but it doesn't make sense. With Bilt, it's based off your account, so the card you have with Bilt doesn't really matter. With Chase though, you do need to have the right cards. On the personal end, you'd want either the Chase Sapphire Preferred card or the Chase Sapphire Reserve. Alternatively, on the business end, Chase Sapphire Reserve for Business or the Inc. Business Preferred credit card. All of these allow you to access transfer partners. One added benefit here is that you can pool your points. If you have the Chase Freedom Unlimited, Chase Freedom Flex, Inc. Business Unlimited credit card, or Inc. Business Cash credit card, you can actually combine them. Let's do a quick example. So even though a card might earn cash back, the ones we talked about mostly are using it for marketing, and each $1 in cash back is actually 100 points. So you might have more points than you think. Logging into your account, there's going to be a combined points feature. For example, I have about 7,500 points that I can combine to the Chase Sapphire Reserve. Once it's on that card, you can click travel and then transfer points to partners. You'll see a bunch of options for hotels, and Hyatt is the one we're talking about today. In addition, they do have promotions, so these are the current bonus offers. Also a ton of other airlines depending on where you're looking to fly, so tons of upside. If your focus is premium travel, then transfer partners is probably the best way to unlock these experiences for a fraction of what you'd otherwise have to pay. On a side note, if you want to learn about cards, we have links on the website asksabby.com and also down below in the description box. Make sure the links are competitive, that they make sense for you, but otherwise it's a huge way to support the channel, so thank you in advance. Okay, so we talked about math earlier, but for people that are new to this, how do we calculate cents per point? A good baseline is the average nightly price. Let's say for the Park Hyatt Niseko, it's about 300. For destination hotels like this one, you might want to search in season. For example, during ski season, it could easily run 1,300, and I've even seen it up to 2,000 on good snow years. It still is a category 8, which means that it's between 35K and 45K, regardless of whether it's summer or winter. But for summer, I'd rather pay out of pocket because the math doesn't work. 291 divided by 35,000 points would be 0.83 cents per point, which is pretty low. For example, you could cash out 35,000 points for 315 cash back and then just pay for the hotel. In season though, the math changes dramatically. Let's say $1,300 divided by 45,000 points would be 2.9 cents per point. You could cash out 45,000 points for 415 cash back, but that's not going to pay for a night here. In fact, for that $450, you couldn't even cover a night at the mid-level hotels like the Hilton. We've been to the Hilton. It's not that nice of a hotel, pretty much a tiny room and very outdated. I guess you could also do this bunk bed setup if that's more your jam. But in my case, I'd rather cover a fancy ski and ski out hotel that I'd probably happily pay $800 or $900 for. One way I like framing it is against the cashback value. So would I consider $450 a good deal for this hotel? The main point of calculating cents per point is to make sure that we're getting enough value that it passes your hurdle rate for it to be worth your points. If not, then maybe pay out of pocket and then save your points for a future stay. One other final note is that you avoid taxes and fees when you are using points. For example, here for the One King Bed City View, it's 40,000 points. As of right now, before any program changes, the final due is still 40,000 points. When you're paying out of pocket, you might see $1,100, but this doesn't count taxes and service charges. For a lot of places, this could be an additional 20 to 30%, so here it's about 300 more, so 1,100 becomes about 1,400. Hyatt points, at least right now, are extremely powerful, so make use of them. With all that said, let's dive into the category 8 options. We are going a bit into the weeds, so let me know if it's useful, and hopefully it is. There's 15 of them in the US, 4 of them in the Caribbean and Latin, 8 of them in Europe, mostly France and Italy, and then 7 in Asia and Pacific, with 5 of them in Japan. In total, we have 34 here, but some of them are coming soon, so we don't have data yet. But yeah, feel free to check the prices for your own dates. For the top 5, we have Alila Ventana Big Sur, and then 4 Park Hyatts with New York, Kyoto, Milan, and Paris Vendôme. For most dates, you're going to be getting between 3 to 6 cents per point. So pretty good value across the board, and that's pretty consistent. Alila Ventana Big Sur is probably the most consistently expensive one though, and it's an all-inclusive escape in the woods. It's not for everyone, but if one of you is outdoorsy but the other isn't, then it's a perfect escape. So for me, I like hiking, I went kayaking and portaging when I was a kid, but Mandy doesn't like nature as much, so this is just enough and it's a good balance. And again, for all of these, you have to want to go. If you're not interested, then skip to the next one. Park Hyatt New York is one of the go-to city options, and it's almost $1,800 for May. It's still on our list, and I probably should book it after this. Park Hyatt Kyoto is super well situated, and I'd recommend it. It's super convenient if you are trying to see the sights in the Gion district, and also a very beautiful hotel and great service as well. It is a bit smaller, but great soft product. Park Hyatt Milan seems a bit vanilla, but might still check it out this summer. But yeah, would love some opinions if you have been there. Park Hyatt Vendôme is very well situated if you are trying to shop, and it's a beautiful hotel. The rooms aren't the most impressive, and it does feel a bit dated, but good customer service, and you're paying for the location. Rounding out the top 10 with the Park Hyatt Tokyo, Alila Napa Valley, the Manor, Ondas Tokyo Toranomon Hills, and the Chatwell. Here you're looking at between 2 to 3 cents per point. Park Hyatt Tokyo is pretty nice and one I'd recommend, and it is made famous from the Lost in Translation movie. The decor might not be for everyone, but beautiful views of the city and a nice escape. Alila Napa Valley I've heard great things about, and it's on our list, so hope to check it out soon. In contrast, the Manor is very much not on my list, unless I'm missing out on something and it's worth visiting, but seems pretty normal. The Ondas Tokyo is a bit of a weird one because it sometimes can be a bit cheaper, and you might find it for 400 or low 500s. It is a beautiful property though, and one I'd recommend for the location and views, but also one I'd do the math on, and if you are getting 2 cents per point, then great, use your points, but if not, consider paying out of pocket. Also could use case for hotel credits on premium cards. Chatwell is a bit of a weird one since it doesn't seem that interesting. It was part of Marriott before, and I think they're leaving Hyatt, so we'll see what happens. I'm probably skipping this one. 11 to 15 has a lot of interesting ones, and you're getting about 2 cents per point here. Park Hyatt Cabo is new and looks pretty awesome. So it opened November 2025. Ondas Maui is beautiful, but not sure if I'd visit again. But we did definitely enjoy our visit when we were there, and I'd happily recommend it if you are debating it. Just amazing sunsets, great food, and great time. That one felt like a one and done. The Park Hyatt Sydney was on our list, but a lot of you don't seem that impressed with it. If you've been, let me know what you think. Carmel Valley Ranch looks interesting, but also a bit forgettable. Maybe unfair, but looking at the pictures, I think I'd rather just go back to Ventana. Park Hyatt Zurich is a bit of a weird one for us, but it looks cute. I feel like every time we route through Zurich, we're always going to go skiing, and we don't really spend much time in Zurich, so maybe that's why. Also, we're usually there for winter when it's a lot cheaper, so not a great use of points. With the bottom half, you run into more high variance ones, and it very much depends on when you want to go. And here, technically, average cents per point isn't really a good metric because that's not always accurate. For example, based off the dates I gathered, I don't think the Grand Hyatt Kauai is accurate. It's usually 800 and 900. I guess it can vary quite a bit by weekends and also vacations. They do have pretty aggressive taxes and fees that you do avoid with award bookings though. I think I'd definitely go back again. It's a beautiful hotel, and I'd visit whether on cash or points. I'm not going to read through the whole bottom half, but one thing to note is that there are a lot of skiing ones, so Beaver Creek, Park City, Niseko, Tahoe, and Deer Valley. The main thing here is that the value is more towards peak season, where you might get 3 to 4 cents per point, but in the summer, it's terrible value. So in winter, use points if you can, and then in summer, just pay out of pocket. The other one I will mention though is the Grand Hyatt Tokyo. So if it's 800 a night, then use points, but sometimes you might find it for 400 or 500, and I'd pay out of pocket then. I think Manny's going to have a video on this on the Manny Rooms channel for next weekend, but we weren't overly impressed. It's okay, the lounge is nice, but the base rooms are not the best. If you get upgraded, then great, but if you don't, it's a pretty small base room. Category 8 was what I was focused on since that's what we're trying to book, but I did end up doing this a little bit for Category 7. One big caveat for Category 7 though, is that I didn't do all 4 quarters, I just did a sample of one. So definitely a lot weaker. With that said, looking at the top 5, you are still getting pretty good value and it's pretty strong. You have the Residence at Park Hyatt Beaver Creek, Park Hyatt Maldives, Alila Maldives, Ondas 5th Ave, as well as Alila in Amman. You're getting 3 to 4 cents per point here and generally makes sense, especially during peak season. I probably need to book the Maldives after this. The next 5 include the Lost Stone, which I've never heard of, Hotel de Louvre, Park Hyatt Vienna, Park Hyatt for Golf, and also Hotel Toronto on Hills. I can't really speak on the other 4, but Hotel Toronto on Hills is super convenient for Japan, and it's pretty much one building over from the Ondas. A bit of a different vibe, but it is pretty cool, and there also is a great sushi restaurant in the basement that I'd recommend. Hotel de Louvre looks great for summer though, if that's more your jam. The next 10 look pretty standard, but let me know if I'm missing anything. I probably am sleeping on St. Kitts and Aruba, but let me know if they're worth a visit. To be fair, I think it makes more sense if you are on the East Coast because SFO to Aruba is 12 hours, which is a lot, and for St. Kitts about the same, 11 hours. In contrast, I could fly to Japan in that time. Nothing really jumps out to me with the bottom batch other than the Hyatt-centric Ginza. I guess the Grand Hyatt Vail could make a lot of sense during ski season, and there's a lot of value there. So apparently it can jump up to 1,000 per night, so great value. Hyatt-centric Ginza is nice and we have been there, but I just don't think it should be a Category 7 most of the time. To be fair, there are a ton of times where it's going to make a lot of sense, especially during high season. So for example, let's look at April 8th to 9th, it's 1,000 per night. Let's dive into the points calendar, which shows the availability, and you can actually book the 8th to 9th for 35,000 points. So in that case, it's a great redemption because $35K compared to $1,000. That's about 3 to 4 cents per point with fees. Another great example would be the 14th to the 17th, so $30K per night, 90,000 points total, so let's say 900 in cash back as the comp. The retail price for those days is already 900 per night, so great value. The main idea though is that there's a lot of nice Hyatts and it just depends on what you're looking for and the price when you're trying to go and whether you get value. Again, if you want to learn about cards, we have links on the website, asksebi.com, and also down below in the description box. And if you're curious, all legal affiliate disclosures can also be found below in the description box. If you made it to this point, leave a magnifying glass emoji in the comments down below, and I'll try to heart it and also respond. 3 questions. Number 1, which hotels are you booking? Number 2, are you more focused on the premium ones or the more economic ones? And number 3, are you using all your points? For example, for me, I'm sitting on about 500K points that I'm going to use. Rationale being that it's going to get worse with time. Let me know and everyone else know in the comments down below. Big favor, thumbs up, share this, but otherwise hope you liked it. See you next time.